Hello friends, welcome to the Trading Temple channel. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin as well as Celestia and Aptos. First of all, we'll start with Bitcoin because the Bitcoin chart is important in the short term. That's because whatever happens to Bitcoin is important for both Celestia and Aptos and for the entire crypto market. Right now, Bitcoin is in a critical zone. If it drops 10% or goes up 10%, it's something really unusual and significant. Why am I saying this? Right now, we've broken through a support level that has held for several months. This support level has been hit by Bitcoin several times and has provided good bounces, but now it's been broken, and currently it's being retested as a resistance. Now, the level I'm about to explain to you is a decisive one. What is this level? This level is $112,000. If Bitcoin can get back above $112,000, close a candle there, and hold that level, meaning it does not lose it again, then there is a strong chance its price will go up and it can quickly fill the gaps that have formed here in the short term. But if it cannot close a candle above that level, and as you can see in this back test, it is currently testing this resistance. You can see that it has hit $112,000 several times and has not been able to close a candle above it. About 4 days ago it went up, but still could not close a candle above and came back down. So the situation is very sensitive right now, and at this very moment it is testing this long-term trend line, which has been in place for several years. It is a very critical spot. If it loses this level and drops below, there is a strong chance it could reach the next level here. In the short term, Bitcoin might get a small bounce at this level, but in the next round, it could continue its path downward and head toward around $95,000. In this scenario, if something like this happens to Bitcoin, you could say that from the current price, it could drop nearly 13%. What's important is that if Bitcoin's price goes back above $112,000, that's good for altcoins, and I'll show you on the Celestia and Aptos charts what will happen to these two coins if this happens to Bitcoin. But if it gets rejected, you won't be able to find Aptos and Celestia anymore. The key thing now is to base our analysis on the 200-day moving average. After it broke below and then came back above, now several candles have closed above the 200-day moving average. If it loses this moving average, meaning if it drops below again, it's almost confirmed that we're going to move downward. So let's see in the coming weeks what happens to Bitcoin in this area, which is a very important zone. Now let's go to the Celestia chart and I'll show you exactly where we are. This is the Celestia chart. As you can see, Celestia is one of the coins that has had the biggest price drop in the crypto market, and it's fallen nearly 95% from its all-time high up to this point. Now, I'm not going to talk about the liquidation that happened here, but just up to where we are now, Celestia's price has dropped by 95%. Now, if in the short term we see Bitcoin go back above $112,000, there's a strong chance that Celestia could recover and test this resistance. That means it could come back this way and test this resistance, which is around $1.40, and it could potentially go up to $1.50 as well. Also, it would hit this long-term trend line, and in this area, the 50-day moving average and gradually the 100-day moving average are also coming together. Here, there's a strong chance the price will either pull back or get rejected. Then we'll see what happens in this area if Bitcoin goes above the price we just mentioned. But if Bitcoin at the level it's currently at and is now backtesting this resistance and fails and goes down, honestly, I don't see anywhere that Celestia could stop, because in the next zone, Celestia is much lower since it doesn't have any support levels left. It would have to find a place to stop on its own if it wants to make an upward move. That's it for Celestia. Celestia's situation is very complicated. There's also a good scenario if Celestia wants to turn bullish and move up. Again, it depends on Bitcoin, but if it's going to turn bullish and go up, it has to break through this resistance here. Most likely it's going to have a pullback here and go above this trend line, meaning it has to break both this resistance and this trend line to become bullish. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, nothing good might happen for Celestia. The only thing that could happen is it might just reach this resistance, test it, and then get rejected. We have to see what happens to Celestia in the next few days. Let's take a look at Aptos as well. Aptos is in a similarly dire situation, almost like Celestia, but for now, Aptos has managed to hold on to its last support. However, all of this is short-term. In the next move, if Bitcoin drops 10%, it's very likely that Aptos will drop 20% and things will get very tough for it. In the current situation, if Bitcoin goes back above that resistance we talked about at the beginning of the video, Aptos can also recover its initial condition and test this area. This resistance area is close to $4, and if Aptos performs really well, it could get a pullback here and move up, potentially filling the gap it created up here and even possibly reaching the $5.50 area. But it all depends on Bitcoin's condition, and as long as it's below this resistance, Aptos will remain weak and things will be very tough for it. The point where Aptos can turn bullish is when the price reaches this area, makes a small pullback, and goes above this resistance. As long as it stays above this support, once it breaks this resistance, this area will be considered support, and during the retest here, when it tests this support, this level needs to hold. If this level holds, Aptos can be bullish and move higher, but if it loses this level and drops below it again, it's over, and it will likely lose these lower levels as well and head toward $2. That was today's video about Bitcoin, Aptos, and Celestia. I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and don't forget that trading is never certain. Everything is tied to probability. The crypto market conditions are very tough and challenging. Bitcoin is at a critical point right now. It could make a major decision at any moment. It could potentially go up by quite a lot. If it manages to successfully close a daily candle above the important level of $112,000, that's a very good sign, but it really shouldn't close a candle below that level anymore. That would also be extremely positive and beneficial for altcoins in general. However, if it gets rejected at this current level, things will become very tough and challenging for altcoins, and most likely, we might see approximately a 10% drop in altcoin prices in the short term, which could be concerning for investors. That was today's video update, and as always, please remember, I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research and consult with a professional before making any investment decisions. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye for now.